Recently, I played through Rise of the Tomb Raider with the help of some friends to keep me from tearing my eyes out. The following is a completely accurate summary of the campaign. Trust me. The game begins with the narration of Richard Croft trying to sell us cocaine.
What makes someone reach beyond the boundaries of human experience to face the unknown?
Cocaine!
Lara has a conversation about her sex change with the fourth Jonas brother before they set off to climb a super dangerous mountain during a snowstorm because Lara is suicidal. Lara says she has a good feeling about climbing a super dangerous mountain during a snowstorm, just in case you weren't completely sold on the fact that she's suicidal. We slip and fall, but luckily Lara is able to catch herself with the power of pressing X to not die. We show off our superhuman climbing skills by repeatedly slamming our pick into the ice after a full jump, rather than scaling the wall like a normal human being, and this in no way impedes our progress of getting back to the Jonas brother. Jonas brother warns us that we shouldn't close our eyes while we're climbing a super dangerous mountain, so we thank him because that never crossed our minds and we were totally going to try Marco Poloing our way up the ice. We superhuman leap our way up an ice wall and get through some basic climbing with absolutely no problems whatsoever.
Jonas has to die, right?
I don't think so. I think he's in the sequel. Whoops.
That was perfect timing, actually.
Why is it bugging out like this? What? Oh. What in the world? No! It's the game, man! It's the game!
Can you make it across?
I can make it!
What?
Can you make it? I can make it!
We press X to not die and leave Jonas brother hanging while we fuck off around a corner because the rope between us totally has enough slack to do this. We do an actual superhuman jump that was intended by the game and not just me fucking around, and climb up to find the lost city of Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace. Lara gets jump scared by a lightning bolt and slams into a wall, but luckily she's barely phased and Jonas brother has the power to hold her up with just one hand because he's also a superhuman. After we regain our footing, we run off without Jonas brother and press X to not die again a few times before becoming Legolas in the Hobbit movies and then getting thrown off the mountain by an avalanche and dying in the snow. That's the end of the game. But then there's more. 2 weeks prior to supermaning our way up a mountain to find the lost city of Atlantis with the fourth Jonas brother, we sneak our way into our own house late at night during the pouring rain without wearing any kind of protection because Lara has some weird fetish with being sopping wet throughout this entire game. Someone is looking through Lara's dad's Antiques Roadshow collection while listening to recordings of posts from r/I'm14 and This Is Deep, but gets spooked by Lara sneaking into her own apartment. And then Lara gets spooked by her stepmom, who is coming into the room like a normal person, except Lara doesn't question why her stepmom was just about to waltz into her apartment without knocking, and then the two of them argue about daddy issues, and this whole scene doesn't turn into a porno despite having all the telltale signs of being one. Lara Mario 64 is a map and we're transported to Syria, where we're being driven by some guy up another mountain, but this time it's in a desert. We find out that the driver sold us out to the Illuminati and get strafed by an attack helicopter that doesn't immediately destroy the car and kill us both, but after a second strafe, the driver is killed and Lara immediately crashes the car because even in Syria, women shouldn't be trusted behind the wheel. We somehow survive the crash with very minor injuries before the car explodes and sends us careening off a ledge, where we grab hold of a wall before falling 20 more feet onto solid rock and suffering some more very minor injuries. It's at this point we have to ask why Lara is even bothering to hunt down the secret to immortality when she's obviously already immortal. After getting a hangover, Lara completely shrugs off all of her other injuries through the sheer force of wanting a desecrated tomb. We make our way inside the tomb and Lara reveals the first of several thousand glow sticks that she keeps in her satchel and not something more useful like, I don't know, a flashlight. We come across a wall of text but Lara can't read it, so we tumble around a small room to learn the language in the span of 20 seconds by staring at it, and then she has no trouble at all. We desecrate our way out of the room to the entrance of the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and we make our way to the entrance with absolutely no problem. Okay. Lara uses another glow stick that immediately craps out on her, so she lights up another glow stick and gets jump scared by a skeleton that was just minding its own business before desecrating her way further inside. We break our way into a wall that was leaking water to satiate Lara's moisture fetish, and get completely soaked before moving on to the next room where we get our leg caught in a bear trap and then almost drowned, but it's okay because Lara gnaws off her own leg to avoid Shia LaBeouf and... Wait a second, this isn't the right script. We break our way out of the bear trap and hold B to swim faster to make our way through a Dark Souls fog gate into a room that we immediately start desecrating by filling it full of water because even a near-death experience isn't enough to satisfy Lara's aquatic desires. We make our way to a coffin and Lara immediately tries to rob it, but it's already empty and Mr. Krabs comes to steal the gold and then beat Lara's record for most desecration in a tomb, so Lara hides inside the coffin because there were obviously no better options anywhere else. After confronting Mr. Krabs about his money grubbing, Lara steals his detonator so she can't be one-upped for worst adventurer ever, and blows up the tomb herself while she's still inside. We leisurely jog our way out of the collapsing tomb and press X to not die while we get soaked again because Lara seriously has an addiction to water. We recreate the end of Mad Max Fury Road while we take a little break because now Lara is tired. Cut to the Croft Manor where Lara is combing through her dad's other Antiques Roadshow collection when Jonas Brother comes to visit and Lara tells him about her adventure through Syria but in the most cryptic and unhelpful way possible so he has to keep asking her questions.
Yes, but I was followed.
What?
Jonas Brother gets mad at her for being insane so he storms off and Lara throws a hissy fit before she's attacked by some dude that she's able to fend off despite being like half his size and weight, and then chooses not to shoot him as he escapes, and then neither of them try to go after the guy who jumped out of a second-story window who probably would be pretty injured and easy to chase down, and then they just kind of look out the window and decide to go to Siberia. Cut back to the mountain where Lara emerges unscathed from the snow after surviving all that bullshit from earlier and then falling down the mountain in an avalanche, and we stumble through a snowstorm to build a magic campfire that can somehow survive howling winds with no cover whatsoever. After attempting some light grave robbing, we get attacked by a bear, but we manage to escape through the power of pressing B to not die. And then we get mauled by the bear anyways, because in what world can a small woman outrun an angry bear? After getting mauled a second time, we outrun the bear again, through the power of pressing Y to not die, but then I pressed the wrong button to not die and I died. I correct my mistake the second time around and we're thrown 15 feet off a cliff, but it's okay because Lara is actually immortal, or the snow broke our fall, or something. We decide to nap off the bear mauling / crippling fall, but we accidentally leave our fire going, so we attract the attention of the Illuminati who are hunting down Aloy for being in the wrong game. Luckily, Lara is actually Batman, but more murderous, so we get out of the situation and go back to fighting the bear. We fail our way through the bear fight because I wasn't paying attention to what I was actually supposed to be doing, but that's okay because Lara has already proven that she can survive a light bear mauling and we hop away and then cheese the victory. There, he's dead. Okay. We dive our way through freezing cold water because Lara can't just look at a body of water without soaking herself, and then take a break at the campfire that was just conveniently inside of a glacier. We fail our way through the glacier and swim through some more freezing water before meeting up with Aloy, who threatens to kill us and then disappears because now they are Batman. After meleeing our way to an old Soviet outpost, we find an old pistol that's completely compatible with all the ammo we find throughout the rest of the game. There's a guy tied up in a chair, but we ignore him because who cares?
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. Goodbye.
Mr. Krabs is angry at an employee for failing him, so he gouges his eyes out, which is pretty much on par with what we see in the cartoon most of the time. We also find out that maybe the guy was putting on a show because he didn't want to embarrass his boss, because he seemed okay. We murder our way up the mountain, killing everything in our path. Everything. A dog decides to show us his dance moves, but we're not impressed, so we put it out of its misery. We catch back up with Mr. Krabs, but Lara gets caught being a peeping Tom and we're arrested and registered as a sex offender. Lara wakes up in a room with her stepmom and they're both tied to chairs, but this scene doesn't turn into a porno despite having all the telltale signs of being one. The plot isn't very original, so I call the twist of the scene almost 2 minutes before the game gives it to us.
Okay, Anna's definitely a bad guy.
What's happening?
Right?
That's enough. She doesn't
See?
know.
Yep.
They're like, whoa, she's evil! What a reveal! Whoa!
What? You... No.
Gee, Lara,
You
welcome to the
again?
party!
You come...
Wait, she almost called him a cunt.
Anna starts getting really creepy and clearly evil in this scene, which is important to remember for later. Stuff starts getting a little kinky when Lara starts talking about Anna fucking her dad, but it never turns into a porno. Lara gets locked up in a dungeon and meets a hot dude, but I've already used this joke 3 times, so I'm not going to do it again. The Prince of Persia starts being nice, and Lara is just a rude dick for no reason, which seems kind of out of character for her until we realize that he's actually a nice guy, and it all makes much more sense.
There's no us. I don't even know who you are or why you're here.
He's like, but I'm a nice guy. Come on, just give me a chance.
You're obviously a girl and you're in here.
Lara finds a bunch of rope in the dungeon, and I'm really struggling not to just keep using the same joke over and over again because the game just keeps handing me opportunities. Nice guy can't take a hint, and Lara finally lets him out to show her the way. After watching something definitely not safe for work, we look up the Russian version of OSHA, and then it all starts to make sense.
The safety regulations for the Russian Federation is over overseen by the federal state budgetary institution. So people in charge of saving money are the ones in charge of writing the safety rules in Russia.
Nice.
We find out that Anna is terminally ill and has some Alabama love for her brother. After some guards stop by, Lara somehow gets under a bolted down grate. Of course, it's wet underneath the grate. Lara gets the world's wimpiest AK-47 and we click, click, click everyone to death.
Have a rifle.
What the fuck? This thing sounds wimpy as shit.
Nice Guy does some mall ninja shit on a bad guy and we're attacked by a helicopter, but that's okay because it's the same kind of helicopter from earlier, so it's not that deadly. Lara is cornered by the helicopter, so she chooses her favorite option: jump into freezing cold water. The helicopter catches back up to us and doesn't let us pull the same trick twice.
Oh, I see. Now that I... What?
We jog our way through the helicopter's onslaught, and then it lets us back into the water and we die. That's the end of the game. Unfortunately, there's still more. Nice Guy apparently picked up Lara from the river even though she's sopping wet and he's completely dry. We have a confusing conversation with Nice Guy about what Lara is doing in Siberia and make fun of her dead dad.
So what makes you risk so much to come here?
I thought he said he knew.
I know what you're looking for,
What? Then why did you ask?
but I want to know why.
Oh. I see. The
When
cliche.
I was young, he was an archaeologist too.
She's the worst archaeologist. She's gone to
his
like 3
last
different
years,
tombs
he
and
was
completely desecrated them,
Obsessed
She breaks
with
everything.
myths about
including
immortality.
her father's head.
Shots fired.
Of course,
Just one.
no one.
Nice Guy tries once again to get Lara's attention, but she's not having any of it.
And you leave our valley untouched.
But I'm not gonna leave your valley untouched. Oh!
Knowing that you've done the right thing.
No.
Lara comes across a dying man, but he wants to talk to her, and she's completely uninterested, so we back off slowly. This happens.
Whee! Jesus.
We make our way through an old Soviet lumber mill and somehow don't burn the place made entirely of old wood down when we learn how to make Molotovs. Lara has a drinking problem.
Lara? You alright?
Lara kills several birds and becomes a wizard.
Jacob! Shit.
Bang! Fuck, I'm dead!
What the fuck was that?
Now Lara starts burning the whole place down with a Molotov because there was some exposed gases, and not from any of the other times she threw them on an old wooden structure. Lara uses another glow stick, and we have flare envy.
Glow stick. Why does he get a flare and I get a glow stick? I want a flare.
You're a modern, technologically savvy woman.
Nice Guy and Lara get separated, and this action sequence happens kind of abruptly with no real setup, and then ends quickly too. We puzzle our way into some ruins that we immediately start to desecrate. Spider reads a positive review of the game, and we're left to wonder if they were even playing the same game.
Loved it. One of the best Tomb Raider games out there. It's really good and fun. Has a really good mix of combat, stealth, climbing, and puzzles. It was all good IMO. What I hated, it sometimes controls felt a bit slow and weird at first, and some cinematic glitches happened, sometimes not much. Other than that, I highly recommend.
Lara continues to desecrate her way through the tomb and somehow doesn't kill herself. Lara finds some water and the expected happens. We meet back up with Red-Headed Batman, but Nice Guy shows up in the nick of time. 3 hours into the game, Spider correctly guesses the twist because we're confused about everyone's ages.
The girl looks like she's Lara's age, but
Yeah, maybe a little older. I don't know.
how old is Jacob?
Well, probably
Florence.
it's. I don't know if it's
He
a
must
spoiler or
be the
not, but I
prophet's
bet
lost
you
city.
he's the fucking immortal prophet.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Lara Legend of Zelda's her way through Nice Guy's town, and we recreate that one scene from Lord of the Rings to call for aid. We make our way up the signal tower with no problems whatsoever.
And now no one could ever reach it again. Nope. Oh.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Seriously? It said enemy corpses can be rigged up to explode or something. What the fuck? Well, this is the point in the video where I say, and we did this thing with absolutely no issues whatsoever. It's not even working! What the fuck? This game is stupid!
Finally, we light the tower and immediately give our position away to the Illuminati, who comes and attacks the town with helicopters. Lara slowly makes her way back into town through a swamp because she can't just go back the same way she came if there's a chance that it involves getting wet. We're given a shotgun and I never want to use anything else because it's goofy as shit.
I'm never gonna use this. Oh, yeah, I guess I have to.
We have a boss fight with a flamethrower guy, and I make a prediction that comes true.
So how much you want to bet we never see that enemy again?
Yeah, chances are good.
Mr. Krabs gets angry and throws a thing, and Anna starts taunting him even though they're both equally incompetent throughout this whole game. Mr. Krabs squeezes his open wounds and blood comes out, and he takes that as a sign that he's an idiot. Lara decides to help Nice Guy stop the Illuminati, and we superhuman our way into another town. But of course there's water sections because Lara isn't allowed to be dry for more than 2 minutes at a time. Some innocent townies get click-click to death, so we click-click the click-clickers to death. We meet back up with Batman and get the bomb arrow upgrade because this game is just The Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay. Grenade arrows.
People are being attacked in a tower, so we decide we're going to go save them, and this entire section is just an excuse for an action scene and doesn't really progress the plot. Batman tells us where we need to go next, so we get back on track. We get a grapple hook because climbing didn't have enough mechanics already. Even though it's already raining and Lara is technically wet, we come across a pond so she can get soaked. The bad guys don't share our enthusiasm about getting wet. We murder our way through the cathedral and shit starts getting really weird.
Die, Clancy Brown. Oh. Sith abilities. Oh, crafting. Wait, is somebody alive?
Yeah.
Where?
He's shooting you through the ground!
Who's shooting me?
The guy that...
What the fuck? Okay, I'm just going to ignore him?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't.
Oh.
Okay.
We meet back up with Anna and almost get caught, so Lara decides the best course of action is to hold her hostage and blow everything up.
Nice job.
Look who
Fucking nice. Fan-fucking-tastic, Lara. You're an idiot. I believe Anna is about to... I think we just snapped her spine.
Right.
What am I doing? Am I playing?
Shoot the ropes, kill the generators.
Is that what I'm doing?
Rope.
Can I shoot her? Oh. I shot Anna!
Somehow neither Anna nor Lara die in this sequence. Lara uses another glow stick. We come across a guy who's had most of his body burned and he asks us to make it quick, so we explode him.
Look at this Freddy Krueger motherfucker right here. He's still alive.
Oh god!
Ah, jump scare. Wow, so scary.
Yeah, do it. Quick.
Lara blows herself up, but it's okay. She recovers.
I'm fine. Fine.
We pick up an exotic engram, but it has to be decrypted first. The Illuminati catches up to us, so we click our way out of there.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, I'm out of ammo. Okay. Cool. Nice of that fire to just immediately stop when I killed them all.
Lara finds some more water and we get a rebreather so she can spend more time doing her favorite thing. We come across a statue that's already falling apart, but somehow can be held up by 3 bombable supports that all have to be individually destroyed. After we spend 15 minutes desecrating a tomb, we're finally able to leave, but are attacked by some immortal legion of soldiers that Lara never once is very surprised about. More water. 4 hours since we last saw him, Jonas Brothers shows up again. He says we look terrible, but...
She looks terrible? No, she doesn't. She was covered in, like, mud and shit earlier.
We decrypt the exotic engram, but unfortunately it's just another quest step. Lara says glacier, and that's just straight up wrong.
It's under the glacier.
What?
This is horrifying in and of itself just because the lady scares me with her dead doll's eyes. But...
Glacier.
So she was just saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Glacier.
Laura's an idiot.
Okay. Jonas Brother gets kidnapped by Faceless Grunt number 70. Nice Guy got shot, but no one is worried because Spider already guessed the plot twist an hour and 45 minutes ago. We get broadhead climbing arrows because the game's climbing apparently wasn't overly complicated enough already. Lara lights another glow stick. I sing Jurassic Park, kind of.
Dum 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 dum. This game is incredibly dumb. Dum 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 dum.
Lara finds some more freezing water and invites some friends to join her, but they're not very happy with it. Lara finds out where Jonas Brother is being held and we fail our way back to him, but not before going for a swim. Lara fires at Mr. Krabs, but the glass is bulletproof, so Jonas Brother takes the opportunity to get out of his restraints really easily and get the upper hand, but then doesn't shoot Mr. Krabs, and Lara doesn't try to use her bomb arrows or something to open the door or the window or something, even though we definitely have gear and could get into this room. Jonas Brother gets stabbed because he's an idiot.
Come on, Jonas! What the fuck?
Lara breaks the bulletproof glass with a fire hydrant. We're attacked by another helicopter, but this one is also not very deadly. Lara falls into more water and we invite some more friends in, but no one shares our love of water. We take Jonas Brother back to Nice Guy and he rubs alternative medicine over the wound. But it works because... magic. 5 hours and 20 minutes into the game, Lara finally realizes that Nice Guy is the immortal prophet. Spider called this 2 hours ago. Nice Guy shows us his secret cave and we make our way into the hidden city. Lara lights another glow stick. Lara goes through more water. This game feels way longer than it is. We come across a puzzle room and have more struggle with the controls than with the puzzle.
I've already failed the puzzle, it's been 2 seconds. Excuse me? It was like, hey, you did something. Okay.
Now!
She said now.
Said now.
Oh. Wait. Come on, game! Nice.
One of the best Tomb Raider games out there. It's really good and fun. Has a really good mix of combat, stealth, climbing, and puzzles. It was all good, IMO.
Lara lights another glow stick. All of a sudden, we're in that one part in Uncharted 3, except this is actually happening and not a hallucination. Lara lights another glow stick.
I'm sorry, I just zoned out.
You're not missing anything. I zoned out too.
It's like, okay, yeah. Is the horse still in the center of the screen? Yep. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Is the horse still there? Yep. Okay, we haven't advanced. Okay, is the horse still there? Holy shit.
Shit starts breaking on its own.
Wait,
What? Shit!
What?
Where are you?
What is the camera doing?
Oh, you're not doing that? Oh god.
Whoa!
Seeking Deathless
Wait,
Army.
there's 2 guys T-posed right there.
Oh, they're T-posed some more! I refuse to believe that this 130-pound girl can carry, like, a 260-pound guy.
Yeah,
Just
full
hanging.
armor.
Yeah, with one arm.
Whoa! I think they're talking about their buddy. Like, when you shoot one of their buddies. they're
wait.
like,
Wait. Are you seeing this? Oh, because of a...
Yeah.
What?! Boss fight with Mr. Krabs in a helicopter, which really just boils down to wait for Batman to throw a spicy meatball at the helicopter and then shoot it 3 times.
The Legion guys, whenever you kill... What?
We crash his helicopter and he survives it because of course he does. Mr. Krabs steals our bow, so we start wailing on him with melee. But apparently this isn't what the game wants you to do, so you can't beat him this way. We beat Mr. Krabs with the power of David Cage QuickTime events.
Okay, quick time. Nice.
Come on, do it!
That was so goofy.
Burn in hell.
Anna tries to appeal to Lara like she cares about humanity, even though she was acting like a super creep way earlier in the game. Anna tries to take the power of the Traveler by force, but we smash it to recreate the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Cut to... later. We just skip over anything else that happened, like what happened to Anna, what the rest of the Illuminati were doing. Okay. And that's the end of the game. Except there's an after-credits scene that should have been shown before the last one. 2 weeks
God.
earlier? 2 weeks earlier than
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Oh, this was...
Here's the rest of that scene that ended too soon.
Okay.
Anna,
Am I gonna shoot her in the head? Because I want to shoot her in the head.
I loved it.
Wait, what? The blood was there before the gunshot.
It's done.
Yeah.
No, I guess technically that's
What about
realistic.
Croft?
Because you hear... Yeah. I don't think that was intentional, though.
So, like...
Wait.
Not yet, dude.
They've spent the entire fucking game trying to kill her, and now they've decided not to kill her? And now it's actually game over.